Hi, good afternoon. This is Mala from Hearts and Minds Development Center again. Welcome to Being Whole, Being Me. And yes, my good friend Gerald has already joined us. Good afternoon, Gerald. Good afternoon, Chetan. The chief has joined us too. So today I am really excited to bring you a very new friend of mine. I've only met her twice. And she inspired me when I first saw her on stage. In fact, she didn't inspire me. She set the stage on fire. And I was able to reconnect with her recently because she had joined what I call the dark side. So, I was wondering what was happening with her. And as we chatted, I realized, she had a legend for a father. And what a beautiful way to celebrate June. With Vimi Ramasamy, Dr. Vimi Ramasamy, to talk about her dad in her father's footsteps. So this is the 8th series of Being Whole, Being Me. Just want to welcome everybody, all my friends who've been supportive of us every Friday. Yes, I'm going to just say hello to, hi Chetan, hi Gerald, hi Panir, Mr. Panir. Rajamani, thank you for joining us. I'm looking forward to hearing your story soon, Mr. Panir, making it public, so that you'll say yes to me. Of course, my lovely sister from a different mother, Alia, is here. And the rest of the people who are joining us, yeah, Alia is here, Vimi. Welcome, Dr. Vimi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to share my story. It's indeed, I'm very excited. And as I was telling you, I was nervous a bit, but I think you have put that to rest as well. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to drop the Dr. Vimi.
Yeah, please.
Because I've been calling you Vimi, didn't realize what a beautiful name you actually have, right?
Vimaleswari.
Exactly. What does your name mean?
My name means actually goddess of education is another name for Saraswati, wisdom.
Yeah, Saraswati is my favorite goddess if I need to choose a goddess. So, oh, nice. How apt. I mean, I think that's absolutely, perfect with you. Now, so tell me, what is your doctor all about?
My doctor all about? It is purely because of my father. I had to do a doctorate.
Okay.
I hope my siblings are also watching me online, and my family members. I think I told them to come back and watch. See, I have one older brother, one older sister, and one younger sister. My father, being a very visionary man, right? He sets goals not only for himself, but for the family and for everything, right? So in his head, he had this goal that all his children has to have a doctorate.
Oh, all.
Yeah. So my older sister is Dr. Rajeswari. My younger sister went ahead even further. She's actually Professor Dr. I.R. Agleswari. My brother has a degree, but he escaped because he met a very bad accident, and my father gave him a leeway that it's a-okay for him. So,
okay.
But he's heading Falda rail. Palm oil estate. He's a head there managing that in Teluk Intan. So he escaped the education round, right? Because after degree, all of us started to work. And then my father will say, okay, now you have experienced your work, start pursuing the next step. So I literally didn't do anything because I was so busy, consumed with my work, and I was traveling abroad and doing all this stuff, right? So my father had told me many, many times, and I'm like, okay, I'm a bit of rebel compared to my sisters who are like, so I'm like, why do I want to do this if I'm not using it for my job, right? Because I'm already in that career. I'm already doing that. And it was so funny. In 2011, I remember my dad had a mild heart attack. And, my father being a tiger dad, he actually he really thinks through all kinds of way to convince me, right? So in the moment I was getting him into the ambulance, can you imagine? We were wheeling him into the ambulance. He was okay, just mild heart attack. We're getting him to IJN. And then he looks at me and he tells me, he said, Vimy, I wish I will be alive to see you graduate with your doctorate. And can you imagine? In 2011, I have just got my second daughter. I married late. My daughter was about 1 year plus. And then right after my father came out, I enrolled myself to do my doctorate.
Oh, I love your father. I mean, this is the first time we are hearing of a tiger father. But he knows when to say the right things. When you're.
Yes,
I mean, how can you say
exactly.
no to your dad if
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my.
So this is like emotional blackmail, right? So you couldn't believe it. I had to do my PhD.
Right.
At that time, I actually switched my job. After I started, like 2-3 years, I had to skip a semester because I had a knee injury. Then I had to switch a job. I was heading a multinational corporation, and then I switch a house. There's so many things going on, and I was literally writing at night. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know why am I doing this, right? And but it is so hilarious. After all that has done, now that I have left my job per se, the doctor does carry a lot of value.
So daddies are always right too, right?
Yes, exactly. And he told me that, see, I told you so, you didn't want to hear. But okay.
Nice, nice. Did you manage to tell your dad that?
Yeah, obviously. I graduated in 2018.
Right?
I graduated in 2018. He came for my graduation. He was obviously very excited to see that and have that. And I'm like, okay, I've got a tick, right? Got all my 3 daughters with a doctorate.
Nice, nice, brilliant, brilliant. I'm actually going to say hello to the other two doctors whom I'm actually seeing on Facebook, Dr. Rajesh K. Ramasamy and Dr. Agileshwari. I don't usually do this, but this is a doctorate story from Dr. Ramasamy. So, and I think it's only fair that we say it. So, welcome to all the doctors in the Ramasamy family. And now we're going to focus on Vimy. So Vimy, when we decided to catch up, so when I first met you, I met you at the Tulips in Penang, where you
Yeah.
set the stage on fire. I think it was an orange sari, So I
Yeah.
remember the sari, and I remember you, and I'm thinking like, what? Like, I mean, that's what was going on in my head. I'm like, what? And so you set the stage on fire, and it was so good to reconnect with you after the White House conference because you did such a good job emceeing. So, and when we reconnected, I asked you a very important question. Right? The question was, why are you on the dark side? So you have been successfully leading organization, right? And then I heard that you've decided to be like us to become an entrepreneur. So let's talk very quickly about your transition into either the lighter side or the darker side, however you say it. But whoever switches careers, we call it the dark side. So tell us first. Let's talk about your last your basically your job. Like you were a very, very successful person in the corporate world. So tell us a little bit about your corporate world, all right, before we go into transition.
Yeah, I was actually leading a data analytics company for Malaysia,
Mm-hmm.
IHS market at that time. And I was, at the time when I decided to quit, they've asked me to take over and lead right now Omidia, a technology-based organization, another spin-off of data analytics to run the Asia Pac region for them.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, I have to say, I've been drilled by a lot of goals like my dad, right? He keeps asking us to have goals and we keep hitting them and achieving them, right? So one of the goals that I had many years ago was to actually be a female running a multinational corporation, right? MD. And I hit that I was hating already the MD. It is so strange. Once you have a goal, you
Mm-hmm.
hit it, and then you think, what else, right? What else you're going to do? How
Mm,
else you are going to do? So after I have done that, there is a lot of things that's running in my head. And I know that I have a lot more things to offer, a lot more capability that I can push through. But as you grow up in the career ladder, I'm sure there's a lot of people in the career watching me. In corporate world, as you grow higher, you will know there are always boundaries that
mm,
you cannot go beyond that because you are confined by the corporate, right? And the rebel in me was like having difficulty, and I'm like, I need the freedom. I need
mm,
to go ahead and do a lot of things that I want to do by myself, right?
mm,
And especially in 2019, the year that I decided to quit, so many things happened in my family side as well. I had a lot of people passing away. Not that they were old. I had an uncle passed away, my husband's side, 50 something, suddenly because he was having some bronchial problem or something like that. In January, he passed away. Then my uncle passed away on February. Then March was like a break. April, another uncle passed away. And then May, my boss from US, he passed away. And
mm,
then I'm really thinking about all these going on. I'm like, hey, when I'm doing a lot of work, especially when you're in corporate, a lot of time you are just consumed to do a lot of work. Automatically it drills down, and especially when you are uh, if you do your job very well, people keep loading you with more job. And that is the other thing, right? And you strive to complete all those things, and sometimes I feel that I wasn't able to really manage my time like how I wanted to do. And then my
mm,
dad was also not keeping very well, so I
mm,
decided one fine day, I came in, I told my husband, I think I've been thinking a lot. I wanted to really get out of the corporate and do something on my own, but I haven't really narrowed down what is it. And then I was sitting down, I was thinking, hey, maybe I have been doing all this and the universe is actually telling me to quit, but
mm,
I haven't taken the call. And that's why you see everything is happening, right?
mm.
And then I decided, okay, what the hell, right? So I gave my resignation and quit. And, and it was so funny because most people were so shocked. They thought I
Yeah.
was joking. They thought I was joking. Even my boss couldn't believe. My VP called me, my CEO dropped me a note. He's like, hey, what happened? Can we do something? Can we change, or let's look at different option, right? But that's why I came out. And as I said, because there was a lot of values in me that I really wanted to push forward to, freedom is extremely important. And having the ability to make the choice, the decision when you're on your own is super awesome. And yes, and the fact of the matter is, I feel if I'm out, I'm able to serve more
Mm,
and outreach a lot more people. And my husband and I, we are running this consulting, and we have worked abroad, and we have done a lot of stuff for corporates. And we are thinking, hey, why can't we enable the SME? Why can't we
mm,
give them this kind of optimization solution, this kind of strategy that they can use? We have tested out on two small SMEs, and
mm,
that has worked out very well. And these
mm.
are one of the things that we feel that we can contribute back to the society, right? No
Nice.
regrets at all. As I quit and I came out, the job came looking for me, and that's how I opened up my consulting. My ex CEO called me and he wanted to start up another organization, and it's like, Vimi, please come and run it. I'm like, it took me some time because it's like I quit this job and then I haven't got another job, and I thought I need a break. And it was so funny. My father was freaked out. He
I was going to ask you, what was your father's reaction? I was, yeah, okay, tell me.
Yeah, he kind of freaked out. It's like, what is wrong with you? And he's a person, he plans ahead. He's like, do you have a plan? I'm
Mm.
like, no. Then he's like, Jimmy. Then I said, Appa, you told me to be confident. You told me to be believing in myself. So I'm like, my dad is like, okay. So I told him, I said, Appa, you have taught me well. I know how to manage it. Then it's like, he gave me this smile and he's like, hey, okay with it. And within like 6 weeks, I, just a couple of days after I resigned, you wouldn't believe it. My aunt, who was a single aunt, passed away, met an accident and passed away.
Mm.
And so happened she only is well connected with me. So it took it upon us that we conducted all the funeral service and everything. So I was thinking, she's very, very religious. And she
Mm.
keeps saying it's a-okay. I know she prays to this Lord and she's like, Sivan will take care of me, right? And in my mind, I'm thinking it's not Sivan who's coming physically. He will send all the people to come and help and do the stuff, right? So it took me doing all that. So it happened just right after that. And after that, as I said, I got called. My CEO offered me a job. I sat down for a moment and I thought through it. And I'm like, should I take this job? It's another MD role.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, and they're like, tell me, what do you want with me, right? We can make that happen. And
Mm.
I'm thinking, yes, there is a value which was attractive. But in my mind, what is it that comes to you, right? I believe in happiness. I know a lot of people have seen me for all the years. That's one thing that my father also and my mom always very cheerful.
Mm.
And I realized that life is something that you really need to enjoy and you
Mm.
need to be very, very happy with what you're doing. And I'm
Mm.
thinking if I take back another corporate role, I'm going to go back to the same cycle that I've gone through before. And
Mm.
I decided I've had enough. And what that happened is it gave me another opportunity to build my confidence. It's, hey, look at here, right? I'm in Penang and somebody over in US, Fortune 500 type of company, right? Fortune, these companies are pretty listed. They call me up and they want me to run their company over here, right? So it shows you that we do have very good capabilities. So we need to really believe in that. And I decided, so what I did, I said, I will be your consultant. I will set it up for you. I'll do everything. And then I will depart as you get your team. Right? So that's what I did. So I started up Strawick Business Consulting with that thought and came in mind. And
Nice.
that was awesome. Gave me a lot of opportunity to spend the time with my dad and my parents. And you see, everything happens. I believe the universe always works things out. So it's
Mm.
just right on time. And right after I resigned, and my last day of work was on 6th of September 2019.
Mm.
My father passed away 5th of September 2020. Just a year, right?
Mm.
So it's like I got to spend the time with him. So I feel very blessed.
Thank
So
you.
it's not the dark side. To me, it's the brighter side.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm glad you're on the side together with people like Alia who have chosen a side and which is lighted. Um, so I'm just gonna go one step backward because you kept repeating one thing. I wish I could see your father's face when you told him you're resigning, right? Because I think that's probably his aha moment. He said, "So this is the woman I have brought up." A taste of his
Yeah.
own medicine of all the values he thought. I can only imagine how he would have felt. And I think that's such a beautiful frame. If we can take a photo and put your father's photo. So
Yeah.
having said that, you said two things, right? You repeated this a couple of times, and I like to visit that because I think this is something we all struggle with. So, this is not about getting into business, this is about living your best life. And you said that you wanted freedom, you wanted to be free to live your life in a particular way, which is why you said you had enough of the corporate world. I mean, the corporate world had treated you well, had
Yes.
given you so much, right? So it's not a thing against the corporate world, but you had enough, and you keep saying that, I just wanted the freedom, right, to live my life in a particular way. So if you can just help us understand, what is this thing that you felt like, I don't want to do this anymore in the corporate world, so that the
Mhm.
audience who are listening to you, who have similar feelings of, I've had enough of this part of my life, not necessarily corporate, it could be personal life or anything, like you, we all say, I've had enough, right? So what is it about having had enough? How was the feeling, and how do you know that I don't want to live my life this way anymore?
See, I'm very well driven. I mean, all my family, we are very well driven with values. And
Mm,
our core values are family, commitment, and integrity.
mm,
So one of the things that I realized, right, as you grow into your corporate career, as you go higher and higher, there's a lot of things that logically, it is not the right thing to do because it may not benefit the mass population, but it will benefit the investors, right? So there's a lot of those kind of things that come about, and it is difficult for me to stand on my feet and rebel on that, right? I feel that there are certain things that I'm unable to overturn. Again, even you hate the whole organization in Malaysia or what, there's always somebody else, and there is a board. And
mm,
everything is very, very driven. Obviously, they do take care of people. it it is conveyed, right? But in my mind, I feel there's a lot of things that needs to be changed, not only in my organization but whole corporate. I feel
mm,
everything has come down to just money. My belief is people are number one asset. And in my mind, even working from home, and to me, when I manage anybody, it's not managing the number of hours they put in, it's more of managing the outcome. And I
mm,
look at bringing the best out of people. I mean, their strength, leverage their strength. That's what
mm,
I am always thinking about, right?
mm,
So, with this kind of thought, when you go into your corporate world as you grow up, you have conflicts and you have to make a decision.
mm,
And that's when you need to go ahead and make a decision and you go, right? And it's A-okay. And to me, I've made a lot of those kind of decisions. And I feel at times I'm thinking, do I want to go ahead and fight that kind of battle, right? That's something that's valuable for me. I don't feel happy making those kind of decisions.
mm,
And that's one of the reasons that really pushed me out, and I'm A-okay, right? And that's a thing. And to me, if I say something, no
mhm,
matter what, I will do it. And the commitment is the same. If I say something to the CEO or the janitor in my company, I
mm.
will still do it because we are taught to treat everybody equally,
Ah,
irrespectively of their designation.
nice, nice. And I know
That's the
we're
thing.
going to the heart of the story of treating everybody well, which is why I'm going to stop you, because I think once we get there,
Yes.
there's no turning back. So hold on to that. So, Mimi, what I'm hearing from you is you have very strong personal values, and what you're saying in terms of I've had enough is that you didn't want to put yourself through the conflicts of having not being able to live by your own values and hold your own integrity in place. That's
Yes.
what I'm hearing. And you decided you won't live or sail along with that conflict, and you decided to stay true to your values. That's what I'm hearing. All right. Now,
Yes.
as a
Very true.
result, yes, as a result, and this is a very important conversation, because a lot of times we give ourselves logical reasons why we're doing certain things, which are very logical. But what we do is the price we pay is that we don't stay true to our true nature, and a lot of us suffer from that logical illness. So thank you for that story. Now, when you stayed true to your personal values and you chose integrity and you chose not to be in conflict with yourself, because of the values. You stay true to who you truly are deep within, right? Because you did
Yes.
say, I wanted to be free. What freedom did you get as a result of your decision?
Oh, now it's super, right? I decide who I want to work with.
Yes.
I decide what project I want to deal with. And if I really do not like something, I'm a very open and transparent person. A
Mm,
lot of times when I'm in the corporate, I have to really think twice or thrice before I could say something, because I have to carry the corporate hat with me, because it's a Vimy representing this company, Vimy
nice,
representing this organization. It's not
nice.
Vimy by herself, right? So that kind of freedom is so superb. So I pick up and somebody tells me something, I can tell them, hey, I don't like it. I'm so sorry. And it is okay. And the joy is so immense, so
Nice,
superb.
nice. So, Mimi, have you ever had feedback of people telling you you're arrogant?
When they have told me that when I was much younger, but they even called me a slave driver,
Oh.
maybe 20 years ago. But
Mm,
after that, that feedback has been received, and I've changed with that feedback, and very short time frame, because I'm highly motivated. So one of the
mm,
biggest problem that I had is I started enforcing my expectation, whatever I expect of myself, to others, and
nice.
that was flawed. You can't do that, right? But
Mm,
after that, things have changed. I've been always tagged as one of the best leaders. I mean, I've
yes,
got so many awards. If you come to my house, you can see I've got a leadership award, best leader, that award, this award, and
nice.
I mean, the award is nothing to me. The best thing I can tell you, when I left my company, IHS Market, when they held the farewell, can you believe it? They invited my family, my husband, and my two kids.
Nice.
And they had such a beautiful farewell. It was with dance, with songs, with a talk. The whole event was so beautiful. And the thing that reflected to me, because for me, family is very important. And when I go into a company, the whole entire people in the company becomes my family.
Mm,
And they recognized that, and they said, hey, Vimy, it's not a farewell just for you, it's for your family, because you have been a part of us. So
nice.
that really echoed to me, and it was like a really fulfilling when you see these kind of gestures. So those are the important things that I feel that made some changes in people's life, right, while I was leading.
Thank you. Thank you. So the reason I asked you the arrogant question is when a man speaks out, it's confidence. When a woman speaks out, she's arrogant, and that's a common thing that we hear of. And I wanted to bring that out of you because I want all other women who are watching, girls who are watching, men with girls as daughters, wives, and friends who are watching to relook at what confidence look like with a woman who takes feedback, who's able to embrace it, grow with it, all right, and make a difference in the way you've made it. And what you've also said is, you've brought the feminine side into the corporate world by embracing people as your family. Because what we are used to being told is that, let's have a clear line between your personal and professional life and treat people as contributors, right? Not as people, even though we see people are the greatest
Oh,
asset, right? We use them, we
yes,
squeeze them, right?
yeah,
And
exactly.
all right. So thank you for so many great leadership nuggets. Looks like we do leadership series. We have to call you No Choice, like Dr. Vimy.
I'm
Right?
doing one tomorrow with Toastmasters.
Ah, okay. And so how do people tune in to your leadership talk? Is it via LinkedIn?
Yeah, it's where they have a Facebook, they have a LinkedIn as well. I can
All right.
send you the reference later.
Yes. So look out for the link when I get it. I will post it back here so that if you want some leadership nuggets from Dr. Vimy, to all the things that she has said, which resonates very deeply in my heart, because freedom is one of my great values too, right? And yeah, so I think you are resonating with a lot of people. Now, before I go into the heart of conversation of getting to know your appa, right, before we do that, I just want to welcome a couple of people who've taken time to say hello to us. So we've said hello to Mr. Panir. We have Raja Azura who's saying hi to you. Hi, Dr.
Hello.
Yeah, Dr. Agileshwari is here. She has said hello as well. Thank you very much. My dear friend Rajesh Singham, whom you haven't met, was the second. She's another Singham lady who came in our session for the second round, and she sent me a beautiful WhatsApp I think this week, which has inspired me. Rajesh, thank you very much. Then there's another Dr. Rajesh K. Ramasamy. Obviously, that's your sister, I think. Yeah, she hasn't put in doctor, but I'm just adding it on. Prasanna Kartigesu says hello.
That's my niece. She's
yes. So that's I'm reading it out so that you can identify the Ramasamy clan. Okay. We have a good friend. My good friend Luis Moraes is here. Oh my goodness. My very busy friend Jay Sinaya is here. Hi Jay, thanks for coming. There is a Gauri Gobinathan. I'm not sure.
I think
Gauri,
that's a friend of ours.
Yeah, Gauri is here saying hello to you. Oh, my John Peter Ganesan is here. Good morning. He's all the way from India, very faithful to our show.
Oh, hello.
India. Alam Muhammad Jahangir is saying hello. Yes, there's I'm sure he's a doctor. Dr. Prabhakaran Jayaraman is here. Dr. Prabha, or Major Prabha as we know him. Subramaniam Appala Naidu is here.
That's my husband, Subramaniam.
Okay, so please mark Subramaniam Appala Naidu because he is the amazing rocking partner of Vimy, right, Vimy? Because it's not easy
definitely.
to wife like you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so very blessed. So very blessed.
Yes. Right. So, Subra, if I may call you, yes, we are going to talk to you one of these days. How do you, support, and let rock together, because that's what I saw him doing while we were preparing, right? So, and Alia, I'm not going to ask you the question yet because she's got a good question for you. Patmal Singh, our latest Malaysian author who's rocking the space with his book Thrive, is here. He is saying, I am all eyes when you talk leadership. That's what Patmal is saying. Nimala is saying, hello. There is a Malar Malini. All right?
Yeah, that's a family friend of ours.
Okay, and Subra says, hello, mother Rasvini. Is that your daughter?
Yeah, my daughter is studying. They need to be, they want to be heard. So that's my older one. I think she's with the father. My younger one is just trying to peep next to me here.
I mean, what do you expect? I mean, your your father has produced 3 doctors in the house, right? And you and your husband, I see how your daughters interact. They are amazing. So we don't expect anything less from you, but let's hear about your hero. So tell me, so you've said all of these values and you've always said, it is your dad who instilled these values, right? So tell us, what values did your father instill in you and how?
See, there's a lot of things I can tell you about my dad, but I'll tell you his life story in a brief short, right? So he told us that he had all the luxury. He keeps saying that he was born with a golden spoon until he was 5 years old, and then all the things was robbed away from him and his family. And he had like an older sister, a 2 sisters, and one younger brother who is on special needs. So he literally had to change his whole entire lifestyle. He was very close with my granddad, and they really worked very well to bring the whole family. So he said he will go and sell like appa, put newspapers in the morning before he went to school. And that really gave him a lot of resilience, perseverance on what he needs to go ahead and do, right? How he wants to go ahead and lead himself. So he came over there, and then his mom passed away when he was 17 years old, when he was sitting for his exam. And that really shattered him. But he took it to himself the responsibility of managing the family with my grandfather. So he first started to become a teacher, and he realized that was not his passion. And he's really very gung ho. He's in the scouts. He's a debate team. He speaks multiple different languages. He is a public speaker, and that's how you get the way that I speak, right? Because I used to follow my dad. I used to tag along with him where he go and give his talks, give his motivational speeches, and all those things, right? So later he joined the railways. And after he joined the railways, he started with a clerk and he started growing. He took his own studies, he upgraded himself. Then he was running the railways. Most part of his railway career was in Batu Gajah railway station. So he did a lot of things over there. And at that time, he is very into social service. He was born in Taiping. When he was doing his work there, he also initiated the orphanage in Taiping before. Then he was actually thinking, what else can we do? And then he came to Batu Gajah. And Batu Gajah falls under Kinta district. So he helped the Rukut Tentangga. He was the head. Anybody you go, most of the old timers recognize my dad. He ran it, and we have received so many awards from the Prime Minister as well for the best run Rukut Tentangga.
Wow.
We have seen so much of things that, at that time, all of us were raised that we have not seen anybody indifferent. Everybody, as I told you, right, was supposed to be treated equally. My dad's godparents were Chinese. My mom's godparents were Muslim. So we actually celebrated all the celebration. And when my dad did the Rukut Tetangga, we had multiracial people in the house, right? And everybody referred to uncle, auntie, uncle, auntie. And there is no distinguishment. So if you ask me, I've had people who have gone and said that she's my sister and they are actually Chinese. And other people look at them and like, hey, but it's because that's how we were raised. So we had that values. And apart from doing that, he was also very active in Pemadam. And if you see, my father has a lot of awards, and one of his is Jaksa Bhakti Pemadam, right? And he received that. He started off the drug rehabilitation center in Batu Gajah with few of his friends. And then they took these people up and they changed over. Kelly's Castle right now, he was the first movers of doing all those efforts in that area. Not only he was doing all these, I also remember he was into our school. He really believes in education, as you see, right? To me, Dad always say education is paramount. Everybody must have that education. And it's not so much to have the education. Of course, it gives you a leeway to acquire different access, right? Like a passport. But to him, he feels that once you're educated, you have the ability to find different resources and to help people better. And that's one thing he will tell, whenever we do things wrong, he'll say, such educated fools. That's what he tells us. He said, I went to Atap school, and you see how am I thinking, and you.
He says that to you all.
Yeah?
He says that to you all. To
us. If you don't make the right choices or the right decision, and he tells us, like, educated fools, why do you go and take, So that's who he is. And to him, it's not only us, right? I know a lot of my friends, they freaked out with him as well. When we have this parents' teachers' day, he will make sure most of the other days my father hardly come. Only even my first day at school, he took me at school, told me this is the cafeteria, this is how much you need to buy, this is your bus. Okay, then he drops me and then he goes, right? And we are supposed to be independent and we've been nurtured in that way, right? And my mom was also given that perspective. So we don't cry. And in fact, we were taking care of the other year one students when we were year one.
Okay.
So that
nice.
Okay.
Nice. I can't help it. Your father has a friend in Nimala's grandmother, because she also says Such educated fools. So I think they all studied together somewhere in the uni.
True. So,
I mean, what
so
a
my
nice
dad,
way. Mm,
yeah, and he's like so funny, right? So when my friends' parents don't have time to come and take their report card,
mm.
my father will pick the report card for them. He will sit down with the teacher and ask them about what do they need to improve and have the conversation with them later, right? So they're like, okay, uncle. Yes, uncle.
So he will talk to the children.
Yes, he will talk to
Oh
the
my
children
God.
and later have the conversation with their parents. A lot of them, their parents were not so very well educated as well. And sometimes, so I have friends who are Chinese, so he will tell them in Chinese and he will speak to the kid and tell them what they need to do.
Nice, nice. I mean, I think this is the beauty about the people in the past where they were such busybodies in the right way, right? They cared so
Yes,
much. They cared so much, and you need the strength of a tiger like your dad and the
yes.
courage to say, you know what, if you think I'm a busybody, it's okay, but I'm going to do what is right for the child, right? Because
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and I think that's where again and again, your dad shows so much of wisdom. But Nimi, I have to ask you one question. Give me
Sure.
one example when he called you an educated fool. Do you remember? So that we can laugh at you, Nimi, please.
Many times actually.
Just one story. What is it that you did? Your father thought you were an educated fool.
um, Probably the time when I was making a certain decisions in the organization.
Okay.
And my father is very strategic, and even until he passed away, he would actually ask me about my company. How am I managing it? What am I doing? How's the perspective I'm putting in? What am I doing with the people? And we will have that kind of conversations. Although he doesn't know much about data analytics and everything, but he can put the puzzles and everything right.
Mm.
So there was once very earlier part of our career when we were talking about this, when I worked longest in Intel, and we always have this performance plan where you have to write your performance review, and then there will be strength and there will be weaknesses, right? And a lot of times we will spend the time thinking about how we want to improve people on their weaknesses.
Mm.
And there was some of the team in my engineering folks. I'm looking at their weaknesses. I'm like, oh my God, I really can't do much to these people at all, right? On
Right.
their weaknesses, they are very good at their strength, but there are some weaknesses you can't just beat them up. So I've been talking about it and I was thinking about it. And you see, can you imagine my dad? And he tells me, he said, Fimi. So he said, what are you? I said, I'm looking at resources. I thought of sending them for more trainings on that areas. And he looked at me and he said, you're such an educated fool. I'm like, Appa, I'm actually trying to help the people. And then he tells me, he said, why do you want to waste your time on trying to work on their weaknesses? Why don't you work on their strength? And they will become better and you will be even more better because you're leading people with hard chai qualities. And that really struck into my head
Nice.
because I was thinking only one way. And I have to know, you can you imagine my dad,
Mm.
like 20 years ago, he's
Mm.
already, when they asked him for some advice for the orphanage, he asked them to do an individual plan for the orphans. He said we need to see how they can do their stuff. Some of them they cannot study. And the orphanage, after putting them, they didn't want to do. My father said, send them for vocational, send them for sewing class, send them for art. Why are we actually ripping off their capability, right? And of course, a lot of people may not agree to how my father thinks at that time. And there was a conflict. But these are a couple of things that you
Yeah.
say,
Yeah. Yeah. No, your father, you didn't need to pay for Gallup's advice, which is to focus on your strength. You had Gallup sitting
yes,
in your house, the Gallup consultant sitting in your house and saying it nicely, why are you an educated fool, without spending so much of money, right? And what
Yes.
is amazing is that he walks his talk. Not just he set objectives for you and for his kids, but I just love the way that you're talking about setting goals, for the kids at the orphanage, right? And that resonates a lot with me, because my mom was brought up in an orphanage, and I wish someone had done that for her, right? Because then we
Yeah.
would have, yeah, skipped one generation very nicely. Now, at this moment, I'm just going to stop and ask you a question that Louis has put up. Louis says, setting objective for our kids, what are some drawbacks underlying in doing so? I am a total supporter of having small achievable objectives. So, going to this question, did your father set objectives for you, or did he set a vision for you and you set the objective?
See, when we were young, my father would make us sit down with him, especially right before the new year, to
Mm,
set the new year goals, we call
mm,
them.
mm,
And that's with my mother and with all my siblings. And when we were younger, he would actually set the goals. He's like, okay, you need to make sure you get within the third placing or the 10th placing in your class,
mm,
so you can focus on your studies.
mm,
And then he will ask us, what help do you need from him?
mm,
Is there some additional stuff you need? How you want to work about it? So those were the goals that he had set. And it's up to us how we are going to translate the goal to achieve about our objective, how long we study. Like me, right? I'm not the nerdy time. Unlike my older sister, she really studies. My younger sister, I mean, they really pay attention and really study. To me, it's like I'll pay attention, but at the last time, I don't need to study so much. Let's put it that way. But I will still make sure I meet my goal.
okay.
So he gave us that kind of opportunity, and that it doesn't matter even right now. If you see just now, Pravina on the go, it's my oldest niece, who is
Mm,
my father's first grandchild,
mm,
and she's doing medicine right now in UKM final year.
nice.
And if you see, she's been probably my parents were taking care of her when she was a child until 5 years old, and same like my kids too. So my father has actually drilled down what is it that you want to achieve, who you want to become, right? How do you want to contribute, right? And that's something that you can go ahead and develop yourself. So my kids, I tell them the same thing. What is it that you want to achieve? But there's definitely one thing which is good. And the hindsight is, I have to be honest, sometimes we put too much of pressure on ourselves.
Mm,
We can be, um, that's why all my sister, brothers, all we have this syndrome that we can't sleep if we cannot deliver to our commitment, because we have got very high expectation. And everybody will come back and they are looking, oh, I passed the exam, and for us it's like, did I get an A plus or an A, right? And
right.
so it's that fine line that we need to really let go. So to me, it's like, okay, so I let go on that kind of basis. You learn, right? My father always say you have to learn something. Like I told my dad, you are in this extreme. I need to fine tune and bring you back to be in the
Yeah.
middle.
But you know what I really love about what you say, and I'm just loving your father every moment of this conversation about your dad, right? The amount of wisdom that we are all experiencing. But you see, your dad set goals and objectives, and he has great expectation of you. And I think people have great expectations of other people because they see capabilities. But what I truly love about what your father did, right, is to ask you become that not to be successful in the eyes of the measurement of the world, but how do you use your education to choose your vocation to contribute to make a better world? Now, that is the question that shaped your thinking. Because a lot of parents are shooting for the A's. And in fact, now what I hear of the very educated parents, we are not asking our children how they're going to contribute. We are telling our children how you are going to recuperate on the investment that we are making in education, right? Yeah, I mean, that's the conversation that I hear. And I hear people who want to study, and why are you doing a particular course? Because my mom says, my dad says that this job will pay us well. We can have a good life. But your dad had this amazing wisdom to say, how are you going to contribute? And you've shown in all the stories that you've told, right? Um, his walking wisdom. Now, at this moment, I think I want to say hello to this amazing guy who has come. I think he's related to you because I see a Ramasamy there. Is this
Yeah,
Kasiraj?
my brother.
This is the brother who escaped
Hello.
the doctorate, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? He's amazing. He was in coma for 20 over days, and
Your
then he recovered. Yeah, and that's
wow.
why he got exempted, and he walked out of the hospital. They call him the miracle boy.
Oh,
Now
I
he's
yeah, all of your miracles. But Kasi Raja, I want to just say this to you, right? It is just so exciting to watch a brother coming on to tell the brother way to go with me, because this is the kind of relationships that we want to build, because it is really how do we cheer each on. All your siblings are here to cheer on, and that's a legacy of your dad, right? Because
yes,
yeah, your
very
family
very true.
is here to cheer you up. Who cares whether the rest of the world is here? And how wonderful that you have your brother coming and cheering on to say, way to go, Wimi, way to go, Wimi. Okay, Wimi. Now,
Yeah.
one question before I ask you a very important story about your dad that I want the whole world to hear, which is why we are here. Alia asked, do you worry that as a strong female, you intimidate men? So, I mean, I'm going to let you answer, but the fact that the brother came and said hello, it's already saying that's the kind of man we are looking for. But back to you with the question. Do you
I,
worry?
I, I I don't worry at all because
Yeah.
in my career, especially for the first 20 years, most of my colleagues were just men. I was the only female when I was in the engineering field. And of course, I had a lot of power. I had a lot of ways to prove that I was equally or better than them. And until now, they keep telling me, they said, Vimi, you are man in women's clothes. So I
We
take it.
still have to give the glory to the man, right? And that's the part I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
understand.
exactly. So to me, it's never about intimidating. It's about how we carry ourselves, right? As long as we are honest and truthful to who we are,
Hmm.
and we do not impact or hurt anybody literally, it does
Nice.
not matter. So I don't feel, of course, I've done a lot of things, as I said, but who cares, right? You are who you are.
Yeah, but I just want to echo and Vimi, I know I'm riding on you with this thing, right? I think we need to be around men like Kasi Raja, like Subramaniam, your husband, right?
And my
Who
other brother-in-laws as well. They are not here, but I must say we are all very blessed.
yeah.
All maybe they also relate to my dad. My
Mm,
dad has not shown any gender discrimination at all. I
nice.
went to do engineering in my younger sister as well. We never had the gender discrimination. And so the expectation is same expectation as it is for my brother and for us, all of us, right? So
Nice.
when we come in with that, we have the same thought, and our in-laws also have molded into that kind of same perspective as well.
Of course, they need to be brave enough to handle doctors as their daughter-in-laws, right? But I mean, really, this is a great testimony of, what does it mean to live by your strength? What does it mean to be equal and to respect? So this is not a gender thing, but it is how do we now look at the way we have evolved, right? And I know Alia was trying to tickle you with the
Yes.
intimidation question, because I think what we need to do and remember is this, right? If people are intimidated, that's not because something is wrong with you, but that's because they can't handle it. And I always say, if people feel intimidated, go and choose your tribe correctly. And your father has created a tribe that just support each other. For that, we want to thank for giving us a great
Yeah.
example. All
I,
right.
I see
Well,
another one, my sister's daughter, Yashwini, as well. We have got six grandchildren, five of them are girls, and all of
oh,
them doing awesome. The older one, Pravina, as you say, seen her. And then the second one, she's graduated. She did engineering as well. She has a master in petroleum engineering. My nephew, he did business, and both of them are working. Then suddenly there's a huge gap. Then my little niece, Yashwini, who just 16 years old, completed IGSE. And then my daughter and my younger one who's still. But all of them, they have no gender stereotype built into their head.
Thank you.
They are
Yeah,
allowed to do whatever they want to do.
nice, nice. I mean, your father has already set the standard long ago when the world was before the world was talking about diversity, inclusion, and equality. I mean, we are talking about it still, and we're still talking about, okay, who's better, you are a man in women's clothes. But your father never did any talking. He did the living, and he created the space that makes it right for everybody to be their best versions, right? And
Yes.
men who grow up with strong women have no better choice but to be great, right?
Yes.
Because otherwise you can't rock the space with all the great people your father was raising. Now, tell me, how did one give me a story of how your father taught you respect and equality, because that's very big on your agenda with personal values.
Equality, if you say, I told you, my father, in his mind, for him, he believes that everybody is able to do anything at all, and everybody needs to be treated equally, right? So I remember, as I said, my father was running the Pemadam, right, drug rehabilitation center. And, those times they will call the people who stays in the Pemadam as inmates. And they will be shaved bald, and then they will do. So I remember those times, my parents, my father, even my mom, they will take us to that center when he's going to go ahead and visit them. And he will allow us to talk to them. And we were supposed to call them like brother if they're much, or uncle or whoever. And we are supposed to term them also politely. And, they have come, my father, a lot of them, when we hear their stories, my father is a trained counselor as well. So when he shares with them, a lot of them, they want to repent, but their family didn't want to take them back, lost the trust and all those things, right? So a lot of them feel very lonely and very rejected. And to my dad, he believes that everyone needs to be given a second opportunity, right? So he will actually take it on him to start it. So he will give them a certain odd jobs. They will do plantation. They will come to my house, our house last time, to do some work in the house. And when they are in our house, my mom, my parents, everybody treated them the same, right? We will serve them the food. We will bring them the drink. We will talk to them politely. And when we see that, that's how he is, right? And as I said, my father has got a lot of awards. He used to be talking with Sultan Azlan in Perak. He knows them pretty well too. And so he is also associated with very high dignitary people and all those kind of stuff, right? But when we see him, he gives the same respect, same thought, same time. He will listen to anybody, everybody who really needs help. So when we see that, it's automatically driven to us that as an individual, doesn't matter how they are reacting or what has happened to them. The first thing is we need to respect them. He always says this, right? Give respect and take respect. Don't assume you're going to get the respect just because you're so and so. It's because of how you treat them. That's how you're going to get the respect back to you. And that's very important. And that's one thing, right? So while I was doing my career, I do some social service as well. And we are okay to go ahead and help people who are disabled. We don't feel, we don't feel uncomfortable, because to us, this the first thing that we come is humanity. It doesn't matter whether they look terrible or whatever, not right. Is what can we do to help them? How do we get them close to, it's so funny. A lot of times when I come back home before this CMCO, and every time I see somebody who's walking, who's carrying, and whose age, who does not have a transport, and I typically give them a ride. And a lot of people look at me this like, you're being a chauffeur and you're giving a ride to people you don't know. And some poor people who are walking a long way. And to me, it does not matter, right? Uh, Poor does not tag them. It's who they are. And I've seen in many, many cases that uh, a lot of people who don't have much are the people who are willing to give you a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
True.
I remember when you told me the story. This is the one that told me I have to get you to talk about your dad, because I think I mean I meet a lot of people who do community work and community service and all of that, right? But bringing the community that you're serving into your home and treating them like human, that's a class on its own, Vimy. That's truly a class on its own, because it is so easy to use our privileged background to judge another person's life that we don't understand, right?
True.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, especially
Yeah.
if you are logical, educated, disciplined, you have you're resourceful. It's so easy to take the judgmental space and say, I can do it. Why can't you? Why can't you make better choices? Why can't you make better decisions? And lose hope. And these are the people who need hope, who need one
Yes.
person who believes in them. And your father has been that one person in so many people's life, right? And for those who
True.
don't know what I'm talking about, at the end of the session, we'll play a video. You can read how even people who have not met Uncle Ramasamy personally have been touched by his life, right? So, Winnie, thank you very much. I'm very sure you've inspired a lot of people. It is 1:06. So, I'm not going to ask you very long, difficult question, but I'm going to ask you a whole lot of rapid fire question, because we want more wisdom from your dad. Are you ready,
All
Vivi?
right. Yes, go.
Okay. Can you tell me very quickly, if you know, do you remember having any misunderstanding with your dad?
Oh, yes. Just recently, just before he died, actually, 1 month, I had a big fight with him.
Okay, tell me. What is it something you can share?
Sure, no worries at all. My dad was ill last year, especially. We went many times to the hospital. He's a diabetic. He got diabetics later part of his life, and he had high blood pressure, and his heart was weak. So what
Mm,
happened was his kidney was not functioning very well, so water retention built up.
mm,
So he was in the ICU in June actually last year, and after that, miraculously he recovered. Right, it was such an amazing thing. And the doctor said that he can only drink 1 liter of water a day. And that's
mm,
inclusive of any other fluid, right? So I
mhm.
made it to my point. So he's recuperating with me in Penang. And I made sure that I manage everything because my mom has been very lenient. She loves the father and whatever he asks, So I told my mom, no, you're not going to manage this. I'm going to handle. So we got him up. And I remember on July 10th, it was my daughter's birthday. So we wheeled him. He was much better. We took him out for lunch. And here, my father, I'm making sure he gets just like 300 milliliter of water so he can take many more sips and doing all those things, right? My father, first thing he orders in his menu is, I want a glass of lychee with lots of lychee and lots of. So I was like, Appa, what is wrong with you? How can you do this? And he's looking at me. He's like, why? What? So I said, Appa, the doctor said, right, the water is poison for you. And I was literally so pissed because it
Yeah.
was so much of emotional stress to see him in the ICU. And when they say that he didn't have the chance and coming out. And so I was like, Appa, again. So I actually walked out of the restaurant because I was so
And-
irritated.
yeah, yeah.
And then I had to come down and I came out. And my father looks at me and he's like, I'm already 80. Let me drink what I want to drink.
And how do you, I mean, I can understand the word. So he won again, lah.
Yeah, he won again. But that's one thing I'm sure that I beat my father. My
Right.
father is such a planner, right? So he even shared with me what we need to do for his funeral. So a year back,
Wow.
he's already given me a list of all the things that I need to do for his funeral. And he's also given me the money for me to conduct the funeral service, and how he didn't want too much of rituals. And he want my mother to be looking the same, right? He said, please don't do anything. I want her to be as how she was while I was alive.
Wow.
So he did all that, and then he even took a picture of himself, the passport picture, and he says, "Please use this." So I looked at the picture, and my father looked so strict and so stern. So I said, "No, I'm not going to use this." Then he's like, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "No, I don't like this picture. I will take a better picture, and I'll use what I like to see." That's what I told him. And in fact, the picture that we have used is a picture that we took of him on July 14 last year. That was one of the last pictures that we had of him smiling on his natural self, right?
Nice, nice. You are a rebel. I'm sure your father sort of like saw the mirror, right? When he was looking into the mirror when he was looking at you. Nice. Thank you so much. I mean, to plan your own funeral, that's beyond wisdom, right?
No,
That's
that's one of the things. It's very sad that he had to leave, but for us, I think it's a very good. We need to celebrate his life.
yes, yes. And that's
That's
exactly
the
what
thing.
you're doing now, isn't it? Okay,
Yeah.
one action of your appa that left you dumbfounded, like I don't know what to say, sort of a thing. Do you remember?
There's many of the
Okay, just
times
one.
that
Yeah. What comes to your
just
mind?
one. My dad is
Mm,
so focused on doing it. He plans, strategize, but his core power is, he says, no matter what you do, if you don't execute, then there's no value, right?
mm,
When I got my degree in engineering, electrical electronics, I come back home to Taiping, and my house washing machine, my mom's washing machine, spoiled.
mm.
So my father looks at me and he says, "Okay, Vimy, go and fix the washing machine." And I'm like, Appa, they didn't teach me how to. This is what running in my head, right? Of course, I didn't tell my father.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah,
he'll
yeah.
tell me you're educated fool. And he's like, then he's like, you did engineering, right? Electrical electronics. I mean, the washing machine has got some electrical electronics component. Please go and fix it. I'm thinking like, I didn't learn this washing machine. I don't have a circuit diagram. I know how to troubleshoot, but I did strip it apart.
Wow.
I went to the, because this is the challenge in my dad, right? Whatever my father says, I think we have come to the agreement. If my father says I can't do something, I'll prove to him I will do it, right? And he knows that's how he ticks with me. So I went ahead to the mechanic shop, I mean the washing machine shop. And this was so funny. I asked the guy, can I get a circuit diagram for this particular model of washing machine? And he was like, what is wrong with this person, right? Nobody comes and asks for a circuit diagram. Then I said, I need a circuit diagram. So I take it back, I troubleshoot the machine, and I isolate what's the problem. And then I told my father, I found out what's the issue, we just need to fix it. Then
Mm,
he came with me to the shop,
mm,
and I told the guy, and he asked the guy to check whether what I said was right.
mm.
And I'm like, okay. But thank God I fixed it.
And what was his reaction?
And that's the thing, right? You do all this thing and you're thinking like, wow, he's going to do something. He's like, all right, good. That's it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me get to my questions for you. All right. One philosophy of your dad that you appreciate.
I think he's gave us a lot, but very one important thing. He always says, as a leader, right? It is not about power. It's not about anything. It's about service. How can you give without expectation?
Mm, mm. Wow.
And he has done that. And when he passed away, we could see a lot of things, and a lot of people's the appreciation was like overwhelming, and you can really feel that. And that's one philosophy, and we've been taught. He said, Don't expect anything, just give. Just serve.
Serve
And he says,
unconditionally.
yeah, serve
Mm.
unconditionally, serve without any expectation. And he say he'll come back to you, not worry. If you're thinking about that, right? So nothing, and it's always been that.
Thank you. Mr. Panir says, yeah, you're right. Mr. Panir is about servant leadership, and that's, I mean, that stories have already illustrated what an amazing,
Yes.
servant leadership your dad was practicing. Did your father have a favorite song?
He had a few favorite songs. In Tamil, one of
Yeah,
his
you
favorite
said.
songs was Palum Palamum Kai
Oh,
Kiri. You know that song?
oh, he must be so romantic.
Yeah,
It's
my mom told me that he watched the movie 5 times. And then
ah,
he likes the song, the other one in the autograph movie, she'll sing the Ovurum Puk,
ஒவ்வொரு
that,
பூக்களுமே சொல்கிறது. Okay, okay,
that song. And then,
okay.
of course, he also liked the Rocky song. He
Like,
always he takes us to all the James Bond movies as well. And then, the Rocky, my God, why I cannot remember that song. There's one song that this Sylvester Stallone will sing.
I
Okay,
probably
Appa.
will know all the Tamil songs that your father listens because I probably listen to it. Rocky and me a little bit not a bit disconnected lah. So anyone
Yeah,
who knows what is the Rocky song, can you please put it on comment because we need to, connect for Vimy what Rocky was singing. So anyone who knows, please put it on comment. So we'll wait for the comment.
yes,
Meanwhile, can
correct.
I just ask? Can I ask you? So I love. So we see the romantic side of your dad, which comes through, the song Palum Palum, right? And we also see how he embraced resilience through the Wovarum Pukalimi song, right? Because it's a beautiful song. All right. There are two comments that's coming from, I expected Gerald to answer. Sharmila Jayaraj also answered Eye of the Tiger.
Yes, exactly. Eye of the Tiger. Right.
So
Yes. That's
for a change, I know this song. I didn't know it was from Rocky because I use it in my training program. I didn't associate it to Rocky, but from now on, I'll associate this song to Uncle Ramasamy. Okay. Now,
all right.
yeah,
He's a
I will.
tiger too.
Yeah, I know, right? So apt. Now, being me, we are in this being whole, being me series, as you know, right? So if I ask you to finish off this line, being me is possible because appa. Finish up the sentence for me. Is that possible?
Because Appa made me to believe in myself and to accept who I am as I am more than enough.
Oh, he just literally left your wings unclipped. And what a wonderful man to have as a dad, not just for you, but for all the lives that he has served. One thing that you have misunderstood about your dad at some point and you understood later. Was there anything that you like, I don't agree with Appa, and then later you say, maybe this is what he was trying to say?
I didn't agree with a lot of things with Appa. Then, of course, very fast
Okay.
uh,
Don't
as I
worry.
told you,
Yeah. Yeah.
probably one of the major thing was my doing my PhD, right? That's one thing that I really didn't quite wrap it up in my head on
Mm.
why I needed a paper qualification, right? To really go ahead and do that. And then he kept telling me, he said, you need to get this with me. And because of my work nature and everything, I literally, for few years, because I was doing it part-time,
Mm.
I would do the dissertation at night. I would work. I had night meetings, and I would probably sleep like a couple of hours and literally sleep off on the floor at where I'm working. And at times I feel I'm like, I'm going to die. I don't know why am I doing this. And I look at it as like, Appa, you got me to this, right? and that is the waiting. So this is a joke, right? There's one moment I was like literally so beaten up and so tired, and I told my husband, I said I'm going to die, and he's like, "What is wrong with you? Who told you to ask you to do a PhD? Right? It's not me. You want to do by yourself." and you want to do everything, and then you say you want to die. So at that time, I'm like, it's not me, it's my appa. I need.
Of
So
course.
it's like, so
Yeah.
that's probably the longest thing that I could not understand why, because
Mm.
I didn't experience it. But little did I know, as I came out of my career, it has become very much more beneficial, if you see, right? Because it carries the weight, and not so much of the doctorate. It really expanded my thought process even further, because as I researched on a topic on organizational development. I researched on something that's true to my heart. I looked at gender perspective. So it really gave me a totally different perspective on what was happening. And
Nice.
that really benefited my thought process on how I react to things, how I can actually provide better strategies in place, right? And it was really serving a lot of organization as I was doing that. And I looked at that and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that this could happen, right? And you feel that you have, after like 15 over years in the industry, you know a lot, you already have the degree, you have experienced a lot. But pushing yourself further is like, wow, it gives
Nice.
you a totally different perspective. And again, it gives me the perspective that the more that we go in our education, that gives you the capability of ability for you to interact with the people left, right, up, bottom, right, even more better. And that gives you that opportunity to chat.
He named you Saraswati very, very correctly. Intuitively,
My
he
mom,
named.
my mom named me, not my daughter.
Yeah. So,
But
so both
she's
your
an awesome
parents are rich.
person. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
have to tell her
sure.
that
I am sure.
without her, we wouldn't be here as well, right? Because my
Yeah.
father and my mother were like a tag team.
Yeah,
She's a
because your father
domestic
couldn't have given
engineer.
so
Yeah,
much. Yeah, your
yeah.
father wouldn't have given so much to the world if he didn't have a partner, a sparring partner who supports him. And to bring all of
Exactly.
these people to the house and do all of this and sing the Palum Palamum song. I know how romantically he hooked her. Okay. Okay,
True, true,
last
true,
four
true.
questions. Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine the love between them. I saw the lovely photos, which all of you can see.
Yes.
Now, is there any question you wish you had asked your dad?
I never have any question that I wish I asked my dad, because I had very open conversations with him. And thank God that I moved to the lighter side, especially last year. I
Okay.
I did spend a lot of time with him. We had a lot of chat. He explained a lot of things. And as I said, I was the last in the family to get married, and I'm very, very close. I was his personal secretary for all the things that he did. He was a diabetic. He was running his diabetics association until he was 80 years old.
Mm.
And when we say he runs, he really literally runs it very efficiently. We have the annual report down, accounts done, all the people taken into care, and everything right. And it's amazing the effort that he puts in.
Mm.
And while we are doing all those things, he's always talking and sharing. I've probably asked him all what I needed to know right now.
Mm.
Nothing that I did
Nice.
not get to ask.
Thank you. Thank you. So what I'm hearing from you, Vimy, is this from all your stories that you've actually been sharing. Communication was one thing. Your dad amazingly found the balance between setting expectations right, but letting you fly as high as you could, right? He balanced it very, very, very beautifully, right? And as much as he's a tiger, but he's not the tiger that is chasing you to eat you up, but chasing so you can find your own speed. So there's just so much of wisdom in all the stories that you shared about your dad, right? And before we end, if your father was listening to this interview or this chat conversation that we are having, well, I hope he will say, I want to see this Malar, but never mind.
He would. He would.
I what if we asked him, Uncle, what is that one advice you would leave the audience with? What do you think your Appa would say?
I will say you'll think he will say give abundantly.
Oh, nice. So, Vimi, thank you very much for sharing your amazing father with us, the journey with us. I know you've had your great achievements, but I think whatever your father has, the wisdom he has given you, whether it's servant leadership, whether it is to be respectful, whether it is to love unconditionally, you have just shown us through your father's footstep how you have lived it in the examples that you have shared and in the life that you've lived, right? So thank you very much for sharing with us abundantly, and I wish you all the best. I know your family is surely, protected.
Yes.
I think finally, is it Danisha? Danisha says, good
Yeah,
one.
that's my second niece, the one.
Yeah. So thank you very much for sharing all of these stories. Please follow Dr. Vimi Ramasamy on LinkedIn and on Facebook if you want to hear more of her nuggets, because she is being interviewed. And for those who are inspired and you feel you need her to speak more and you need to hear more of her stories, you now know you can connect with her, because Mr. Panir did say that, he wants someone to inspire the girls that he is raising, right? With that, thank you very much, Vimi. God bless you. I look forward to coming to see you in Penang and give you a real hug and meet your wonderful family of doctors and your husband.
Thank you.
And two amazing daughters that you're raising. With that, have a great weekend. Thank you again.
So can I tell you thank you also? As I said, thank you so very much for giving me the opportunity to share my father's story. And I must say thank you so very much for all my family members who are always here for us to support. I'm sure we'll carry forth my father's legacy, and all our friends and all the rest of the people who are listening in, tuning in, and spending your Friday lunchtime with us, right? I hope my father's story has given you some insights and will help you as well, right? As I said, it's always in giving you create the abundance. Thank you so much. Have an awesome weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Love you, Vimi. See you when I
Love
see
you
you.
too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you very much. As we say bye to Vimi, thank you very much. Now, yes, this is Malar again. I'm just going to take 1 minute to announce what we're going to do next week. Next week, for a change, I'm not going to say I'm introducing someone whom I've just met. I am introducing someone whom I met years ago, and I never liked her because she was such a difficult person, I thought, until I got to know her, and she's continued to inspire me with her strength and her resilience. And next week, she is going to talk about the price of freedom that she had to pay in the way she made her choices. None other than my friend, my sister Maziana, who's going to come on board next week. So stay tuned next week. 12 o'clock, same time, being whole, being me. I'll be talking to Maziana, and I hope if Maziana is here, Maz, Kak Maz, I will see you next week. Find out what is the price that she paid for her freedom. With that, have a lovely weekend. I will see you again next week. Take care. Ciao. Bye.
வாழ்வின்றால் போராடும் போர்க்களமே ஒவ்வொரு பூக்களுமே சொல்கிறதே வாழ்வென்றால் போராடும் போர்க்களமே ஒவ்வொரு விடியலுமே எண்ணம் தோன்றக்கூடாது. எந்த மனிதன் நெஞ்சுக்குள் காயம் இல்லை சொல்லுங்கள். காலப்போக்கில் காயம் எல்லாம் மறைந்து போகும் மாயங்கள்.